Hi, everyone. My name is Anika Verma, and I'm the Chief Communication Officer at the Steamboat. For those of you who don't know, we interview various students who have showcased an interest in STEAM and our leadership through exceptional means. I'm pleased to announce our next students, Isha. Before we get started, I would like Isha to introduce herself.
Yeah, so hi, my name's Isha, and I'm an advocate for closing the gender gap in STEM, particularly in computer science. So I encourage women to pursue careers in STEM through like I'm the secretary of the Society of Women's Engineering at my school. I also have co-founded a 501(c)(3) nonprofit called Coder World with my friend, which provides coding camps and tours for women in STEM, particularly like online, completely for free and all of that. I'm also a teen advisory board member for Tech Girls, and I'm also part of my local community's advisory board. So outside of all of that, I'm also a four-year varsity cheerleading team member, and I like to stay active through like workouts and spending quality time with my friends. So through all those roles, I've kind of demonstrated my knowledge for coding languages and like particularly Python, Java, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And yeah.
All right, you're very talented and definitely have a lot of skills. You kind of maybe missed this, but could you tell us like where you're based and which grade you're in?
Oh yeah, sorry. So I'm from PA and I'm in 11th grade.
All right. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. So you mentioned various that you started your own non-for-profit. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, how you started it, and what exactly your nonprofit does?
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, me and my friend Shivika co-founded Coder World, and that happened in June of 2022. So we were just finishing up our freshman year of high school because we're in the same grade. But basically, it all just started with like a random like what if idea, if you will. Like we had this idea, like we don't have much going on this summer. Like what if we just because we're both very interested in computer science and we've been interested like starting from about middle school. So we had the what if idea, like what if we spend our summer like we have all this free time like teaching coding and like
Mhm.
and then it just started as like a little like volunteering thing like online through Zoom, and then eventually we made it like an official 501(c)(3) nonprofit, and then like we kept adding in little programs, we kept going on Instagram, and like the support that we got just kind of made us like keep going with it, and here we are.
All right. So you said that you got certified as a non-for-profit. So if any other students are, starting their own organization and it is a non-for-profit, how can they get certified?
Yeah, so what we did is we did a fiscal sponsorship, I believe it's called, with Hack Club. So it's basically, I believe, I'm not really sure on how like the legal like stuff of it works, but I believe we are in, like an affiliate of Hack Club, and that's how we got certified for that.
Okay. So you mentioned that this non-for-profit, you guys like host tutoring sessions and teach. So what age group do you guys teach? And are there other activities other than tutoring that your organization does?
Yeah, so we set all of our stuff up like aimed towards middle school girls. But of course we have a very like diverse audience. Like we have some people who are in high schools, and we also have some people who are college students just wanting to learn extra like on the side. And is that what you asked? Like the age group, right? Okay. And oh, and then what other stuff we provide? Yeah. So we started off with camps because it was like the summertime. So we had multiple Zooms like going for like a month. And then we switched to also doing workshops, which is like a day, like just a random day, 3 hours on Zoom. But then we switched to one-on-one tutoring where we have these mentors, and then we match them up with students by like them filling out forms. So those are currently the services we provide.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit like about how these workshops work, what these workshops include, and if anybody out there listening, wants to be part of your organization, they want to tutor, or if they want to attend a workshop, how they can do that?
Yeah, so we always update our Instagram with new workshop dates. So we'll have an Instagram post promoting the date, what languages we're gonna be going over, and then we have a link tree in our Instagram bio. It's our Instagram is at Code Her World, and that has all the registration links for, because it's just you fill out a Google form, we'll email like reaching out like with more information, but basically um how it works is it's completely free, it's on Zoom, and it depends like if for like a normal workshop it's just like 3 hours, like I said, normally like 2 to 3. And in the beginning me and Shivika would just teach it. So we would go over slideshows and we would demo on Replit, and then also like there would be independent time and we would be there for questions, and then basically throughout the course of the Zoom you would complete this little mini project that we had set out on our slides. But then as time went on, and we like had different services going on, we had a team of we figured out a team. So we had curriculum developers and also teachers and teaching assistants take over for that, and we kind of just monitored at some point.
Right, that sounds very exciting, when your organization grows large and you're able to like hand off responsibilities. That's something we're all looking for. You also mentioned that you were a part of like the Society of Women Engineers or something along that line. So
Mhm.
could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we could refer to it as SWE at our school. And basically I've been a part of the club since freshman year, but this year I am the secretary for the club. And basically at my school we have designated time in our school schedule like during the day for club, like we have club days and we have like an hour where you can go to a club around the school, and we have like a lot of different ones, and basically SWE is just one of those. And when we meet during the school day, we just do like fun little engineering activities to decompress. And it's kind of just like a group of gals hanging out that all like are interested in the same thing, and that all like are advocating for the same thing, to have more women in STEM. And then also we do stuff outside of the club days where we in the past we have gone to like middle schools and have done these like little engineering activities with them. And then right now we are currently working on having this panel with Lockheed Martin executives, I would say, like people from Lockheed Martin to come and chat about like being in the STEM fields.
Okay, that's very exciting. And obviously having people from other companies and come and talk, and that's like something that we'd all like. We also have the same club at our school, and they compete in engineering competitions too and things like that. So it's nice to hear that this is happening in different states as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what sparked your interest into STEM? So you tell us that you walked into freshman year and you were already part of all these like STEM clubs and you were doing these STEM activities, but what really like sparked your interest into joining?
Well, I have an older sister. She's 4 years older than me, and she has been interested in the engineering field. So I grew up like seeing her interested in all that, and then also my parents are in like the technology field. So I kind of grew up with that influence. And then also in middle school, I want to say 6th grade, my local library had free coding camp for the summer. So my mom kind of signed me up for it. And at first, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little reluctant. I was like, why am I spending like my summer going to the library to learn coding? Like that doesn't sound like too much fun. But little did I know I would genuinely like fall in love with it, and like like want to keep learning about it outside of that camp. So that little camp that I originally did not want to go to definitely sparks all of this. And then I kind of was like, I kept the ball rolling, and I learned on my own because there's so many like great resources out there. So I kind of kept going. And then when I got to high school, I took like computer science courses and all that stuff, because I originally wanted to be like my sister, like I grew up seeing her in all this like engineering stuff, because she's a industrial engineering major at Penn State right now. I grew up seeing like all this engineering stuff, and I kind of tried it out and it wasn't for me. But then when I saw like computer science specifically, like I realized how much I liked it, and then I kind of kept going with it.
Yeah, that's like, everybody has their own path, and obviously it's great. Computer science is also a really fun field. I like that field a lot too, and I think it's amazing to see more females in that because I agree with like the cause. My own computer science classes at my school hardly have any girls, it's maybe two,
Yeah.
three per class. So you mentioned that you take like computer science classes. So anybody interested in the computer science class, like what classes do you suggest they take? What classes did you take personally, and how have they helped you?
Yeah, so freshman year, I took the class that my school provided. So I took a Java course, and then also at the end of the school year, like for the last marking period, we like touched into like HTML and web development and all that stuff, like just the basics. And then sophomore year, my school provided a Swift class, which is like for iOS apps, and that was something really cool because like I said earlier, like I learned stuff on my own, but I hadn't like even like discovered or like looked into Swift. So that was definitely cool because it's great having that like physical classroom setting with where when there's a teacher there. But if if schools don't if your personal school does not provide that, that like I said, there's great resources online. Like I there's YouTube videos, like there's so many like lectures recorded. Also Code Academy, the website where you can kind of just like go through it asynchronously, like follow along. And W3 Schools, it's a website where it has like tutorials, it has examples, and it really delves into different languages. So that's what I learned. That's what I used to learn most languages.
Yeah, I've used heard of some of those sources before too, like W3 schools and things like that. And I can definitely agree that they're very helpful and like they're pretty step by step, so they're pretty clear.
Mhm.
All right. So you also told us that you're part of the teen advisory board for Tech Girls. So do you mind talking about that?
Yeah, so in middle school after I had attended my little library camp, my mom discovered Tech Girls online, I think probably like on Facebook or something. And it's basically Tech Girls is this nonprofit organization that kind of just hosts different STEM workshops, mainly technology, um about like coding or just like how to like AI, like that kind of stuff. So I attended some Zooms in middle school about it, and then it's aimed towards middle school girls. So then I was like, all righty, now what do I do with this? Like, I want to keep going. And then I discovered that they have a teen advisory board. So what that is I kind of just it you're like the role models for the middle schoolers, I would like to say. So we have tab workshops, so where like all the advisory, where some advisory board members host these workshops for the middle schoolers, and then also we have like just like monthly meetings where we go over different stuff for the organization and just like stuff like that.
All right, that sounds very cool. So is this a virtually based organization or is this within your community?
Yeah, so it's global virtually, like you can join from anywhere, but then also like they do have in-person workshops. They used to be big on in-person before COVID hit, like many organizations. So they are still in person now. It's just it's a little sparse.
Yeah, I think after COVID, a lot of organizations chose to move virtually, which is kind of great because then it's now convenient and accessible for everyone. So,
Mhm.
what other extracurriculars are you part of, or what other hobbies do you have that help you, like in the field of STEM?
In the field of STEM, none like specifically that I haven't touched on. Like yeah, not gonna lie, none that are STEM related that I haven't already discussed. But like I said, I'm on my school's cheerleading team, and I think that being a part of a sport, specifically a team sport, definitely like gives you great skills that you can apply anywhere, whether it be like for like STEM fields or school or outside of school, like the real world. So I would say that has definitely given me great like communication skills and like just knowing how what it's like to be a part of a team that wants the same goal. That's definitely like um had an impact on just like everything basically.
Yeah, Shay, you mentioned like having the skills to that it has helped you build. So, what do you think are the most important skills that are needed in the STEM field?
Yeah, so I think being open-minded is definitely a big one because specifically with technology, I feel like so much is happening all the time. Like so many new things are like it's always changing. I feel like that applies for STEM in general, but like right now I know like there's a lot of stuff going on with AI. So like I feel like just being open-minded and like being able to adapt going like goes hand in hand with that. And then also patience. Patience is definitely a big thing, especially when learning new skills. It's not it's because coding languages are like a different language. Like you have to be able to be patient and like figure out, specifically with troubleshooting as well. I think that's definitely a good skill to have. And then most times, you're not going to be alone. You're going to be on a team. So being able to collaborate efficiently. So whether that be like communicating, like being a leader, knowing when not to be a leader is also a big thing. Like knowing like when there's too many cooks in the kitchen, like that can go be a little crazy, like knowing when to just like follow someone's lead. Like I think those kind of skills. And I think that also goes hand in hand with adapting to like what's going on around you and the task at hand.
All right. So you mentioned like, being helping it helps you with like troubleshooting and all those kind of things. So it's kind of like kind of sidetracked, but with when you started your own non-for-profit, what like problems did you face? What challenges did you face and how did you deal with them?
Yeah, so a challenge that we faced because because we are virtual, is a no-show rate. Like we would, especially with our first couple workshops, we were so excited. We had all these signups, and then we would start the Zoom and like we would have like a 50% no-show rate, like at best, because when things are virtual, people kind of just sign up and then they forget about it because they don't have to actually go anywhere. So that was definitely a biggest struggle because you put so much, especially in the beginning, you put so much work into making these slides. You post on Instagram, you send out reminder emails, like you're just so excited about it. You see the numbers rolling in, and then the numbers don't match up when you start the Zoom. So that was definitely like it was just kind of hard to see. It was a little disappointing in the beginning. But how we learned to overcome that is just to, keep going to build like I don't know, like a fan base, if you will, like, because then when past students keep coming back, you have those consistent numbers. And then we just sent out more reminders. We tried to incentivize as much as we could. And then also, by thinking of like new curriculum that we can do. Like, yeah, we can teach like coding languages, but then we also, this new thing that we did was this app prototyping workshop where we kind of just like, there was no coding involved. It was just designing like a wireframe on how, like, if you wanted to make an app, what app would it be and how would it work? Like, just trying to like go around that because no-show rates were definitely our biggest thing. And then also our second thing, because it was virtual, was outreach. Like how do we reach people? Like how do people even discover us in the first place? Like we're putting in this work, like I feel like people should know about it. Um, so what we did with that is we created a website on and we published that, and then we try to be as active as we could on our Instagram, and also just keeping like a file of all the emails that we've collected through people who have signed up, and just like sending out kind of like newsletter type things. Like if we have a new workshop coming up, we'll copy and paste all those emails in, and then we'll be like, look, be on the lookout, like what this is coming up, like register here. So just kind of that goes along with building like a base as well. So I would say that.
Was there any other challenges that you guys faced, or was this like the biggest one? Or have you faced any new challenges as the organization grows?
hmm So I would say that was our most consistent those were our most consistent problems. Like it started in the beginning and it was kind of like disappointing to see, like I said, and then like as we were like, all right, we got to keep going, and then it was still consistent, but once we figured out how to go around that, that was fine. But for new problems, I would say that like figuring out new programs to implement, because like I said, we co-founded this in summer of 2022, and so it's been like 2 years now, and it's like what new things can we do? Like how can we keep growing our nonprofit? How can we keep reaching people? How can we keep advocating for like bridging the gap for women in STEM? Like it was kind of just like what more can we do? So I would say that was a little problem that we had, because also me and Shivika don't go to the same school. So we had to like schedule time to brainstorm, sit down, and figure out like how we can keep going and reach more people. So, um, and I think that also started with just, we like started like just listing out these ambitious ideas. Like no matter how ambitious it was, we just talked about it and like breaking it into feasible chunks so we can eventually like get to that ambitious goal.
All right. Yeah, those are really important like things to do. Sometimes you have to dream big and then cut it down to small things into what is actually achievable. So what
Exactly.
tips do you have for someone like who's looking to start their own non-for-profit or wants to do something maybe similar to what you've done, or maybe something outside of the STEM field, but they want to start their own organization and they want to like, be able to host events on whatever their subject or topic is?
Yeah, so I would definitely say like don't be scared. Like I feel like starting's the scariest thing because there's some logistics to work out and then also like starting like being like a co-founder of a nonprofit like that sounds kind of scary or like a founder of a nonprofit that it sounds scary but like honestly like just like don't be scared. Like if you have the idea, if you have the goal and you know what mission you want to achieve, like starting is the hardest part, but you just got to figure out what you want to do. And then like I said, break it up into chunks and then like figure out how you're going to brand yourself, how you're going to what is your outreach going to look like? Are you going to be like is your social media presence going to be prominent or are you going to be very local and like have flyers, do stuff at the local library, that kind of stuff. Like figuring out like who you are, what you want, and who you want to reach. Those three things I feel like are the biggest things to figure out when you start. And then from there, like you just take it step by step, like I said. Like if you want to host an event, like you think about again, like who you want to reach. And then when can this happen? What like tools and resources do I need? What help can I get? That kind of stuff. I say just starting and then just taking it step by step and then just going from there. You don't have to do all the things at once right when you start. You can start with one thing and then once that is successful, once you've figured out like everything for that, you can add in something else and just going from there. Just but I think the biggest thing is just to start. You know, you can have all this talk, you can have all this plan, all this planning done, but just start and just roll with the punches, see where it goes. Don't have anything too set in stone, just see what happens.
What do you think is like the biggest achievement of your non-for-profit? And then what is your life's like biggest achievement in STEM? And that doesn't have to be the non-for-profit.
Okay, yeah. So I would say for our nonprofit, it would be our impact being globally, like our numbers through that, because um we have reached 7 countries, specific countries, through our students or through our mentors and stuff like that. So I think actually the number might be around 9 now, but like you know what I mean, like around that number. Like just hearing that even though we're just in PA, like that we can reach different countries like Singapore, India, that kind of stuff like that. It's just it's really cool to see and it's like it feels really nice knowing that like your impact can go that far. So I would say that's one of our biggest achievements. And also going off of that, our numbers, we have reached around 200 students now. And it's just great to think about how we have introduced computer science or um, enhanced people's computer science journeys like over like 200 students. Like that's just really cool because you know that's how my journey started in the first place, just one workshop. That's all it took for me. And it's just really cool to think about that like one of those 200 students could have the same experience that I did. Um and then for one of my biggest achievements in my personal like life when it comes to STEM, I'm gonna need to think about this. I don't want to answer too quickly. Um, I would want to say I think it honestly is gonna be this nonprofit. Um, because I feel like it's what I dedicate so much time to. And also, like I said earlier, I didn't think it was gonna be this big. Like, especially in the beginning, kept it a little secret from my friends. It was like my own little like thing that I would work on with Shivika. And then as it kept growing, I was more and more proud of it. I told my friends, I told my teachers, um, all that stuff. Cause like I was saying, like I think it's just crazy, like the impact it can have. And just I don't know, just knowing that I can do good with a passion that I feel so strongly about, like being able to use my skills for good and like volunteering my time for all of that, like that it just feels good to be able to do that. So I would say my like greatest accomplishment is having this nonprofit that has impacted real life, like real people, like all over the world.
Yeah. What do you think might be your second most on there, like after the non-for-profit?
My second most, do you still want it to be STEM related or just like,
It can be anything.
um, I would say I'm trying to think. Mm, I don't know. I'm gonna need to ponder about this.
We can come back to it after.
Okay.
All right, yeah, we'll come back to it. So, how do you manage like your workload with, you're in junior year, so there's definitely like hard coursework, a lot of, schoolwork, and then you're part of cheerleading, and then managing such a big team of people. and hosting so many events. How are you able to manage this workload?
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I'll say that. I'll be the first to say that actually. But it's definitely easier having Shivika as a co-founder because we can split it up and we can work on our own and then like come together and like meet up and check in. But I would say time management is just so important, like in high school especially, and then also when you're dealing with extracurriculars, just being able to allocate your time and prioritizing all that stuff. Um, so I would say like when it going along with that, like whenever I have free time, being able to like truly take advantage of it. That means like when I'm in class, like dedicating my time to what I'm doing in class so I have less homework to do and I can focus on my extracurriculars as well. Um, and yeah, just figuring out where your priorities fall and just really like attacking them, I guess.
Do you think like, you do cheerleading for multiple seasons or do you do it for one season?
Yeah, so cheer at our school is year round. So tryouts start the year before. So like right now I'm about to try out for my senior year. So you try out around in April and then practice throughout the summer and then you have football season in fall and then you have competition season in winter and then you have basketball games to cheer at and then you try out again for the next year. It's like I swear it's like a never-ending cycle. So technically it's like year round. It doesn't have a specific season.
Yeah, because some places have separate seasons, so I was wondering if you arrange your schedule in a certain way to maybe like balance the workload. Because our school cheerleading is only happens in two seasons during football and basketball season, so that's how our school works. So what major are you interested in going into college and like what career are you interested in the future? I know you mentioned computer science, like that's your field, but is it what you want to do in the future?
Yeah, I think it's definitely what I want to do in the future just because like I would like to say I've been interested in it for a while, sixth grade and now that's 5 years and the passion just like doesn't stop growing. Like and I feel like when you have the resources that a university has and all that stuff, like I think I can only imagine it'll keep going. Um, so computer science definitely, and specifically maybe like information systems or sciences, that kind of stuff. I definitely just want to keep going with it and major in it in college, keep studying it. So.
Do you have any interest in maybe starting your own like business one day? Like I know you started a non-for-profit, so that's kind of like a little business oriented, slightly kind of think about it. Is that an interest that you have?
Yeah, so my interest for business has definitely grown through this. In the beginning, in the beginning of high school before this whole thing, my eyes were always just set on computer science. I kind of didn't like explore other options because I knew what I liked. But once I started this, I didn't realize how fun business could be, like how much you can do with it, like how the logistics that like there are logistics and you have to like plan around that and all that stuff like that. Um, I think I discovered my passion for business. I don't know if I would start my own business in the future, but I hope that I definitely do keep like working with it because I was talking about it to one of my friends recently, actually, who's doing their course selection, and I was saying like take the business class. Like I wish I took it because like I didn't realize how cool it could be. So like yeah, I don't know if I would have my own business, but I would definitely want to keep working with it.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I love doing like that kind of planning and communications and getting to meet new people. 'Cause then it's like an ever growing, ever challenging world in the business
Definitely.
field as well.
Mhm.
All right. So I have one last question for you. What latest innovation or achievement in STEM has caught your attention and interest, and why?
I think I'm gonna be a little, you could say basic with this answer, but I'm gonna say the like enhancement of AI right now. Like I think it is crazy the stuff that you can do with it. And like I'll like on TikTok I'll see like the AI like singing like like covers of artists and stuff like that. It sounds so realistic or like the AI images. And then obviously Chat GPT has been a big craze, especially in schools right now. And just like The ability that it has and how it can keep growing and getting smarter, I just think is so cool. So I would say like that's one of the most interesting things that I've been seeing because it's just like there's so much you can do with it. There's so many ways you can train it. Um, and yeah, I think that's what I would say.
I think we've definitely heard that answer before almost every time because AI has definitely been everybody's top choice.
Mhm.
So as we wrap up, you you will be graduating obviously after next year. So how will you continue working with code for her or code her world, or will you like hand it off to someone else? What is your plan in mind?
So me and Shavika haven't actually had this conversation yet, but um, I can imagine that we will still try to allocate our time towards it, like by, you know, just like monitoring it. Um, but I can only imagine that we will try to like, have like maybe like a bigger team or like a bigger leader on the team to take more load and then we can just be managing it. We haven't actually like had that conversation yet, but I can only imagine like we would want it to keep running and having an impact and just keep carrying out its mission, if you will.
Yeah, I think that's almost everybody. Like, that's what we want to do is like we never, it's like almost like it's your own child, right?
Yeah,
You're
you
growing.
don't want to think that.
Yeah, so you definitely don't want to leave it behind. And it's like a difficult choice between workload of like maybe a college and university that you go to. So before we end today, do you have any other suggestions, anything else you want to tell us about in your like STEM journey? Any other tips, any other suggestions for something someone can do in the STEM field?
Yeah, I would just say like don't be intimidated by like you were saying like your computer science class is mostly like men. Like don't be intimidated by that. Like if you need help with something, don't be scared that it's going to make you look stupid, especially like in front of that kind of audience because I feel like um you're just holding yourself back at that point. So definitely don't let anybody or anything like that intimidate you. Don't be scared to reach out and also just like don't be scared in general. Like if you have a plan, like just go with it and just roll with the punches and just see where you end up. And I guess just keep working hard. That's what I would have to say.
Yeah, that's very inspiring kind of to say. So I just want to thank Isha for joining us this week on our student series interview project. If you're interested in getting interviewed by our team, be sure to check out the form shared in the description. We're always looking for interested students and we interview anyone between the ages of 14 and 22, but we'll always make exceptions for grad students who are doing amazing work. We hope to see you back here again next Monday for our next installment. Thank you, everyone.